Hello everybody and welcome to a commentary on how to beat Dark Souls Remastered in less than an hour, or maybe better to say the Dark Souls Remastered any percent speedrun. If you're unfamiliar with an any percent speedrun, it just means getting to the end of the game as fast as possible. To start this, you're going to pick the Thief class, the Black Firebomb. Nothing else really matters, and I'm sure you can see that 2B's making a guest appearance in Dark Souls Remastered. I installed a mod to change the Thief armor in a retexture to 2B, so it doesn't do anything else other than retexture the armor. After running this speedrun almost 200 times, I wanted something else to look at other than the basic Thief armor in the game. I've actually only modified 3 things in the game, 2 of which I'll tell you now. The Grass Crest Shield has a retexture, the Thief's armor has a retexture, and then there's one other mod that we'll discuss later when we get into the meat of the run. But all you're going to do here is, on the ladder, you're going to take off the straight sword, broken straight sword, and take off the Thief's armor. Then you want to run right here. You can see there's a little gap in between the stones, and you want to aim up and throw 3 firebombs. The first firebomb will hit. When the Asylum demon comes down, the other 2 will hit. You'll have time to roll, throw 2 other bombs, and that'll be it. You typically have time to throw 2 bombs, but every now and again you'll have to roll on the 4th bomb to dodge an attack from the demon, but it doesn't lose you too much time. You want to grab the shield here. You don't want to grab your weapon. This guy is the real-time loss. Trying to get past him is always a pain in the butt. If you time it right with his arrows, you can actually get past him, but it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do. When you go through this gate, you can go ahead and equip your target shield. You're going to run up, get the boulder to come down, and then you're going to go pay Oscar a visit. You need to fully exhaust this dialogue because we want the Estus Flask, and you also need both of the keys so that you can get through the door down here. And then that's pretty much going to be the end of the Asylum. It's pretty straightforward. You probably will not have a lot of variation in times for the Asylum if you're to attempt this run, just because it's very repetitive. Now, one thing to note here is that you can see my time is still running. The time is running because I have my split set to real time, but this speedrun is judged on in-game time. So that is the time that will be on the save file at the end of the run. So I will, at the end of the run, look at my save file to see what my actual time is. My splits are just being done on real time, so they're always still being compared against the same time. Now, when you get to Firelink, you're going to want to sprint down to New Londo because we're going to go get the few items that are going to be key in this run. When you get to this elevator, you're going to want to use your humanity. If I remember correctly here, I'm going to show that the Thief's armor is just a retexture because I just put on the helmet and you can see it's 2B's face. You want to make sure that you send this elevator back up because we're going to need it to get to Blighttown later. I always jump on top of that thing. I don't know if it actually saves time. I just do it. So you're going to come out here, you're going to open the door, and right behind the door is a soul. You're going to want to take that because we're going to need it here in a few moments. Then you're going to run across this side, and you're going to want to jump. Now, I highly recommend you jump at a perpendicular angle because if you don't, you might fall, and you don't want to die to gravity this early in the run. It's too early for that. So then we're going to run up to this dragon. This is a good time to remind, if you've seen any of my past Dark Souls speedruns, you know stamina management is a big key because a lot of these speedruns are just sprinting. The way stamina management works in this game is you don't ever want to let your stamina entirely run out. And then as your stamina reaches its top, you want to start using it again. So to note there, what I did is I grabbed the Dragon Crest Shield. We're going to need that at the end of the run. And I grab a second soul. So you want to grab the Dragon Crest Shield, and then you want to quickly move all the way to the right. That way that swipe doesn't get you, because it'll kill you. For this guy, you want to run directly at his face, and then depending on what he does, you can dodge to the left. I dodge to the left either way, but sometimes he'll fire his lightning straight forward. It's still safe to dodge directly diagonally to the left. You'll be fine. That guy you can run around. This guy square up and then move to his left. And then you want to stay on the left side because you want to kite this Hellkite over, if it's a Hellkite. And then you want to move over to the right. What'll happen is if you run in the middle of the bridge too much, you'll get fucked. If you run the bridge a little bit too much, both will come at you at the same time and you won't be able to circle around them. So stay to the left, swing to the right, and you'll be fine. And then you're going to want to grab the red tear stone ring, a key for this run. Roll off at a perpendicular angle. That's really important. and then you're going to want to roll 3 times when you hit the bottom. It's important because you want to take the right amount of fall damage to not die, and you want to roll 3 times because often lightning will follow you. This area will take a little bit of practice. I died to the Hellkites more than I care to admit, and a bit of pain in the butt. You probably saw my menuing. You want to equip the 2 souls, then the Dark Sign in the 4th spot, and the Firebombs in the 5th spot while you're going up the ladder. It's pretty easy. You just have to hold up and then equip those things. Here, you're going to use those 2 souls and then use your Estus twice to heal. Because now we're going to go get the weapon of the run. I will talk a little bit after I get the weapon about what is going to happen here, because this is where the 3rd mod comes into play. So you're going to grab the Grass Crest Shield. We're going to use that for the entirety of the run until the end. And then you want to stand right behind this plant, wait for the knight to come up. Most of the time, he's going to give you an attack that will allow you to get behind him if you strafe to the right. Every now and again, it's not going to work. It's going to cause something unfortunate. So you just got to roll with the punches. I do here, and then punch his ass off the cliff, which is what you want to do. Because when you kill him, he has a chance to drop the Black Knight Halberd, which is the weapon for this run. Now here, I did not get the Black Knight Halberd. And I want to give a caveat and disclaimer here that if you want to do this run, and you want to do it according to the speedrun.com rules, you may do many, many runs without getting a Black Knight Halberd and have to reset and do everything I just did over again until you get a Black Knight Halberd to start a complete run. For me and a lot of speedrunners, what they do, want to walk up here, punch this lizard, throw a black firebomb, you'll get your Twinkling Titanite to upgrade the Black Knight Halberd. What you do is there's a tool that I will link in the description below called Gadget, and that will allow you to modify anything into your game. What I do to keep runs live is I mod in a Black Halberd, basically just drop one in my inventory. So that's what you saw me do when I paused there and I wasn't doing anything. I just dropped a Black Knight Halberd in my territory, in my inventory. So this run would not count by speedrun.com standards. The only thing used to modify this run truly, other than the texture mods that I use for the shield and the Thief's Armor, is to use the gadget to drop in the Black Knight Halberd. Now, there's a really good argument for not using it in official runs because you want to, do the game as it should be played. But the only difference is you're going to get the Black Knight Halberd sometimes, you're not going to get it sometimes. Buy 2 Titanite shards here, buy the Weaponsmith box, buy the War Pick, upgrade the War Pick to +2. So this run is for instructional purposes. The run I submitted to speedrun.com is the run where I actually got a Black Knight Halberd, and I'll keep doing runs probably in my own free time to try to get a faster one when I actually get the Halberd. But everything else is different. Everything else is the same in the run. So it's really just for instructional purposes and for fun anyways. It's just really not fun to reset over and over again. When getting this footage after I got my last PB or personal best, I did 15 straight runs and got 0 halberds. The halberd drop rate is 26.7 when you use the humanity, but it really seems to be lower than that. Anyway, to stop babbling, you upgrade your strength to +2 after buying all that stuff. 11. And what you're going to want to do, I'm glazing over it a little bit, but you run up to the top, you want to kite this guy down, and you want to stand at the 3rd pillar. What you're going to want to do here, parry him, have your back to the pillar, and then you're going to do Sen's Gate Skip. So, Sen's Gate Skip is pretty weird. Basically what you do is you have your back to the 3rd pillar, you parry, and your foot steps out into the area where you would technically fall if the barrier weren't there. This puts you in a kill box and allows you to go in areas where you wouldn't otherwise be able to go. Now, where your camera is going to angle here, I'm sure you saw it, it's top down, it's kind of weird. It's going to depend on what angle you do the parry from. That's why you kind of saw me fumbling down there trying to get where I was going, because your character's actually still walking even though you're invisible here. So what you have to do here is use, I'm on PC, so it's easier to use the WASD keys to move because it's really difficult to do with a controller, I found. So if you have that option on PC, I totally recommend it. Obviously, we're talking about all these mods, that's restricted to PC as well. But as you can see, once you hear the noise and see Sens Fortress, this allows you to skip into Sens Fortress because the kill box allows you to get through the gate, even though the gate is still up, and that's key. Now, running through Sens Fortress is going to be something that you just kind of need to figure out for yourself with your stamina management. For me, I always wait before those first blades. I let my stamina come back. I let my stamina come back here. Get ready to dodge that guy's lightning, and then you're going to want to move behind him. I would just shoot that stuff at him because why not? Fuck him. And then you're going to want to stop right here. Your stamina should be almost out, and boom. It's one of the best parts of the run. So then you're going to run up to the gate here, and when you get up here, you're going to want to try to equip the red tier stone ring. It's going to take a while. Dark Souls Remastered and Dark Souls menuing is a little janky, so little janky, which is another thing you're going to do here. Jump up, and then you're going to want to quit out, because if you don't quit out, there's no way you can make it to the top of that staircase without the boulder hitting you. So if you're not confident with your quit outs, I would quit out earlier. Now here, jump. You want to jump about a second after you activate the arrows. This will allow you to get your red tier stone ring set up. It's really easy, really consistent. You just jump and then you roll afterwards so you don't get hit by any more. When you run up here, you're going to punch this guy. That way he gets out of your way and you can clear through. Then, again, stamina management kind of weird. Just make sure you have enough clearance to get through. I've been knocked off a couple times in good runs and it's not fun. Then you're going to walk through here and we're just going to go all the way up to the Iron Golem. So just so I can rant a little bit more, I think, before I did offline runs, I did maybe 15 offline runs, and like I said, I got 0 out of 15 halberds on those. I did 170 runs on stream. I got to the night probably 120 of those, and I got maybe 20 halberds at best. The drop rate was not 26.7 for me over the average, and personally, I just find it more fun to do it this way, so basically, on PC, using the tool to drop it in as if you got it every time. That way you can always have runs. And then obviously the runs where you actually get the halberd in-game, you can submit to the leaderboard if you want to. The rest are just for practice. I decided to upload this run because my fastest time with actually getting the halberd in-game was a good bit slower. Anyway, push the archer. You're going to want to equip the war pick. You're going to run up. And then this fight is very, very specific. You're going to always get this swipe attack. Go behind him. Do 2 R2 attacks. Wait for his fist to go. You're going to want to throw a black firebomb. I miss, which is good. You still have one extra firebomb in this run, but you want to hit his foot there. And then these 2 R2s should cause him to stumble if your black firebomb was correct. Now you're going to want to hit, throw a firebomb, and then 1 more R2, and then he goes off. There's a couple things here. First, you obviously want to make sure when you're going to be having him shake that you have him facing off. Otherwise, he'll fall down on the bridge, and that's not what you want. Another thing is you want to make sure on the 4th R2, when you're hitting the second 2 R2s, make sure that he's done with his attack and facing off. Otherwise, it won't work. It's, again, something to practice. I'm sorry. I wish I could go into more depth with each thing, but this run is actually really, really fast, so it's hard to speak about all the things at once. The last thing there is the fire. I would heal as soon as the golem is dead, and then you can actually block to get through that fire and not have it kill you. You just got to time it right, because sometimes you'll be stuck waiting for that guy to throw shit. But now, after we rest of this bonfire, is going to come the scariest part of the run. But first, you're going to level strength to 26, and you're going to level dexterity to 18, and then we're going to go ahead and use that weaponsmith box to reinforce our Black Knight halberd to +2. We are done as far as upgrades in terms of the weapon for the entire run, and you'll see why when you see the red tier stone ring buff. It's pretty sizable, to say the least. So then we're gonna walk up to the elevator. When you get on the elevator, I use the core of an iron golem, and then there's a visual cue that will let you know when you're ready to do the jump. You see that little ridge right there where it changes, and then there's no cool visual design anymore on the wall. That's when you get to do that jump. Just gonna roll down. I stumble a little bit. You can do a jump here onto the rafter, but I don't do it because I find that jump to be scary. Probably saves you like 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds, but again, when you're early in speedruns, just don't do anything too crazy. Just try to get yourself decent times and not reset. And then the rafters here really suck. They really, really suck. And the reason they suck is because you don't have any really viable way to knock these guys down other than two-handing your shield and trying to push them off. I don't do that. If I have a guy run at me like this, I quit out. Like, point blank simple, I do not want to tango with him. No thank you. It is going to get you killed. Most of the time, though, they won't do that, which is fortunate. The only thing is you do have to be pretty fast running here. So definitely using the crab claw. Is it crab claw grip? I feel like that's wrong. But basically, having your index finger hold the right joystick, that way you can control the camera when you're running, definitely makes a huge difference. should have enough stamina to be able to get to this, and then you're going to push this. So that's part 1 of Anor Londo's scariness done. But we still have part 2, and honestly, part 2 is worse. The rafters suck, but this is the part that can be really, really troublesome. And it, again, compounds on if you do 15 runs to get 1 halberd and you make it to Anor Londo and you die on the rafters or you die to the archers that are upcoming, it can be really frustrating to go back and have to wait 10 more runs to get a halberd. The speedrunning community's talked about it a ton, and there's a lot of people that don't like it, but they're never going to allow recorded runs to be counted as having modded the halberd in, which is fair. But again, this is instructional, this is fun, so it doesn't really matter too much. You want to try to dodge that guy's attack if he shoots you like that, and you want to also be wary of random damage there, because I've seen that happen before. The real thing to be scared of here is lightning in the ass. Lightning in the ass can easily kill you here. They have kind of a weird screen that they do, but there's really not a lot I've found that can indicate it. If you're a god, you can turn your camera around and maybe that'll help you, but for me, I can't do that. So, gonna go up here. What you want to do, roll, get this guy to attack you, and then you want to move as far away as possible because he'll run off the cliff like an idiot, and then you're good. And here's the one major safety strat that I do still in my splits, which is grab this bonfire, because that's one thing that is really also critical about this run to note. This run is not forgiving. This run, if you die, the runbacks are brutally long, which when you're starting out won't be that bad because your splits won't be that good and it won't really matter. And if you're not a speedrunner and you just want to try beating the game this way and you don't want to time yourself anyway, then it doesn't matter. But once you've got a decent time, you really cannot die to a lot. ONS is one of the few exceptions because they have a bonfire so close. All you have to do is get hit by that knight so you can get your red tier sun ring set up. If you saw me swapping my item like crazy, it's toggle swapping. If you get hit while you're toggle swapping, you won't get stunned. Then you run up the ladder, you jump over the stairs as you saw. It's pretty easy, you just jump from a distance. And then you want to drop from varying heights to make sure you get the end of your red tier sun ring. Then you want to equip the Black Knight Halberd as you're going through. And you're going to see here, Ornstein does that stupid get stuck on Smough zoomy shit. And I don't want that for a number of reasons. One, I don't want Ornstein zooming around and randomly coming at me and hitting me and killing me because I can only take 1 hit and then I'm dead. But also, you want to keep Ornstein as far away from Smough in the beginning as possible, which sometimes, depending on the opening you get, you may want to move to the left side of the arena if he starts walking towards you. But if he zooms towards you, dodge, and he may do a couple jumps, so make sure you wait. And then you're going to want to hit with R1. I never, ever recommend doing a combo. I never recommend doing R1, just mash it on Ornstein because he tends to back up. I recommend doing an R1, pausing for a second, doing another R1. Fortunately, I get lucky here. You really just, like I said, you want to use the pillars, just try to keep them apart, and you want Ornstein to move toward you, but it doesn't always go that way, unfortunately. But 3 hits, Ornstein's dead. It sounds nice, but it's harder than you might think because you can't take a hit, and you want to try to be fast. So, Smough, you just want to stay up close to him. You really want to be wary of that attack because it can kill you easily. But this is by far the biggest attack to be wary of, and that's why you're going to see me not spam attacks too heavily on Smough, because if you get hit by that lightning, you're obviously dead, and it's got a wide radius. The one thing you do have on your side is, as you saw there, every 3 hits stuns Smough, which is really nice. But you got to be wary about hit detection. I'm sure you saw like a couple hits not go through to him, which kind of sucked. But I actually get a kill right next to the elevator, which is nice. I'm able to use Smough's soul right after, which you're going to need to do, and then get up the elevator. Then we're going to go to the door and quit out. Ornstein and Smough is definitely one of the hardest parts of this run, no doubt about it. It's why I still take the bonfire. It's just getting through that fight without getting hit, even though it only takes you 3 hits on Ornstein, I think 7 on Smough. It can still be very, very difficult. So my recommendation is be passive as much as possible if you have to get through that fight. Longer fight is better than dying because it's a costlier time loss. Now here you're going to have to throw a bomb at Guinevere. You can actually do it from the door if you have good aim. I have terrible aim. But you do need to actually walk up in that room at least halfway through to activate the getting of the Lordvessel. What I found is you don't actually have to stand in the room. You do just need to walk halfway in. So you can actually save some time, unlike I did here. And then when you go to the bonfire, you're going to rest. You're going to level endurance to 17. You're going to level strength to 27. And then you're going to warp to the Undead Parish. As I warp to Undead Parish, I drop the Broken Straight Sword just because I want it out of my inventory. You can actually do that. As you're teleporting, you can drop and equip things if you're quick enough. It does take a little bit of time. Then you're going to go to the go to Andre and buy the Crest of Artorias because we're going to go ahead and open up that door. This is something that confused people a lot when I was speedrunning on Twitch. They were asking, like, why are you going this way? Like, what are you doing? You're doing an any percent run. We are actually going to go to the DLC. And that is one of my favorite parts of this run, and that's why I chose to do this run, because truly, I love Dark Souls 1, but there's not that many bosses that I really love in Dark Souls 1. But this run actually lets you fight a good amount of them. I mean, you get to fight ONS, which is great. But there are a couple more bosses that we're going to get to fight that I really love, and you can do it so quickly if everything goes, according to plan, that it's a lot of fun. So running past the trees isn't too hard. You really just run around them and it's no problem. You're going to go use the Crest of Artorias, and as soon as you do, you quit out because we're saving in-game time here. The door will be open when you are back in, and then we're going to go to this fire, which is the fire we'll be using for the majority of the rest of the run through use of the Dark Sign. So we're going to warp back to Undead Parish here, and you're going to see me drop the War Pick because we no longer need it. Doing equipping between the fires is not too difficult, but doing the dropping does actually take a good bit of speed. So if you can't drop between the fire, don't really worry about it. You don't even have to drop it. It's not a requirement. I just prefer to do it. You could always just pause for a second after and drop it on the ground. It's not too big of a deal. Anyway, now we're going to run to Gargoyles, which is another fight I like a lot, and I'm glad we get to do it in the run. So I'm just going to run up the stairs here. You know the Baldur Knight at the top. So what you're going to do is stick to the left, stop halfway up, and you should always be able to get past him. Just block his attack and move. This room's pretty scary. I let my stamina come back, and you want to be wary of those guys. You can turn to your left and block them if you want to play it safe. If you don't, you can do what I did and just time your rolls nicely. Be careful of that guy in the doorway. He can actually block that doorway, so it is a bit of a hairy room. I've definitely died in there before, but just be as careful as you can. Now we're going to take off the Grass Crest Shield, and we're going to equip the Black Knight Halberd on the ladders, which is the quickest way to do it, because you're just holding up and equipping things in the menu. And now we're going to do Gargoyles, which this is probably the worst Gargoyles fight I've ever had, sadly. You can see that the damage is massive. That's why you don't do Red Tear Stone Ring. I thought I was going to cut his tail there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be great, and I missed. I didn't even know they had a tail attack, to be honest. I go back and heal here just to be safe. Like, the last thing I want to do is reset a run to fucking Gargoyles, which would be embarrassing. It's usually 3 hits for the first, 2 for the second, and you're good. I take off the halberd because we're going to run to the ladder. Easy fight. Usually very, very easy. That's the worst fight I think I've ever had. On the elevator, you're going to want to equip the Grass Crest Shield again. That way you can get your stamina buff back. And then you're going to want to equip the black leather gloves, which look fabulous because I have the 2B mod. Because we're going to go to Blighttown next, and you want to have poison resistance for Blighttown to basically, for poison to last longer. Now, you're going to pull this, and then what I like to do is right before the cutscene starts, I use the Dark Sign. That way I'm already just using it out of the cutscene. But entirely up to you. You don't want to use it too early, because if you did, you might accidentally teleport before the bell goes off, which would be terrible. Terrible, terrible. Anyway, now we're going to go to Firelink, and we're going to go down to Blighttown. Something I want to note really quick here, too. Oh, actually, I forgot. We have to kick Lotric. I suck. I don't know. Does anyone else suck at kicking in Dark Souls? I am fucking awful at kicking. Fortunately, I managed to get him off in 3 kicks. It can take 2 if you kick him at the right angle, but I've had before, like, 5 kicks, 3 punches, maybe a fucking headbutt. I don't know. You want to take the Ring of Favor and Protection because we're going to use it. It is key. You definitely need to use it. Run to the elevator, and we're going to equip it. So one thing I did want to note is actually after you get the Black Knight Halberd, there's nothing in this run that requires you to reset. You can continue running as long as you want to after you get the Black Knight Halberd, as long as you don't lose souls at any key moments, but there's really not that many moments where you would lose key souls. So yeah, I would definitely recommend once you get the Halberd, just trying to continue the run as much as possible. And there's other safety bonfires and stuff that you can grab in that pursuit. You're going to lose HP here, so what I do is I run until my stamina's out, and then I use an Estus, because you want your HP to be full. You'll see why. There is a skip here that will save time on what I'm about to do, but I find the skip to be pretty difficult. I'm not going to go into detail about it here because there's not much of a point in me explaining it if I'm not going to showcase it. But the skip is called meme rolls by the community, and I will use it later in the run where I find it to be easy to use, and I'll explain it then. What you want to do is go to this specific wood plank there. You want to walk off at kind of a diagonal angle. You roll down, you do a plunge attack, you roll down, and I wish I could describe it more excitedly, but really it's just you drop at an angle, you do the plunging attack, you'll land on that thing, you roll down. You want to be pretty quick in rolling down to this because it's a speed run, first of all. And second, because the toxic dark eye can actually hit you. And then you want to do a plunging attack. You're going to need your own visual cue for it. I look for where the brick starts and drop a little bit below it. You want to be, ideally, once you hit the ground, at about 2 of your 5 health bars. So if you're not, I tend to go over to that guy and block his fire attack, which will get me more into that area. Watch out for that troll. He's going to throw his rock at you. You want to be careful about that. Sometimes he'll run up to you and try to slam you. But we're just going to run to Quelaag now. And the reason you want to get about 2 health bars is because you want Red Tear Stone Ring while you're fighting Quelaag, because it will make the fight faster. And this is why we equipped the black leather gloves as well before, because it will make it so the poison effect lowers your health less quickly. If you're not wearing the black leather gloves, it would kill you by the time you got to Quelaag. So the black leather gloves are absolutely key here. When you go through, you're going to equip the Black Knight Halberd. I found later that you can actually have the Halberd equipped, and I don't think it affects you that much, but I don't know. I equip it, unequip it. So Quelaag's going to give you 1 of 2 openers. It's either this opener, or she will run and then pause, and that'll be a jump. So if she does that, just keep sprinting, and you'll actually sprint right under it. But this fight is not that good. You can actually do what I do right here and stun Quelaag by hitting her with the end of your Halberd on her actual body and the spider. But I always just, if she runs and jumps, then I just start attacking the butt and go from there. If she does that attack, I just run around to my left and start attacking because I just find it to be safer. I don't want to risk missing a halberd attack and then getting fucking roasted this far into a run. So I just play it safe. Probably waste like 10 seconds, but I don't care with the time I currently have. Same deal with the other bell as before. You want to pull the lever, and then you're going to use your dark sign. And now we're going to go to Firelink Shrine. So if you're wondering why we kill the Gargoyles and Quelaag, it's because we need Framped to spawn. As you saw, when I used the fire to teleport, I put on all my armor again, so say hello to 2B. And we're going to go down and do a dropping attack because it makes you go a little bit quicker. And then we're going to go place the Lordvessel. This is super, super, super key. Do not rest at the Lordvessel. Do not. Your run will be over if you rest at the Lordvessel. No, 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 no. And then we're going to just Dark Sign out, which will take us back to the Dark Root Garden. And this is where it gets a little bit iffy with being able to rest at bonfires, because the reason we're able to keep coming back to this bonfire is that we're able to use the Dark Sign to go back. So, you know, give and take with what safety bonfires you may take in this run, but there's not a ton to take, really. So you kind of have to have visual cues here. I use that little light in the bush back there and then keep following the bushes, and this is going to take you toward where the Hydra is, which is what we're doing. The reason I put the armor on is because we're going to take a fall here, and fall damage is affected by your equip load, so we're going to get a very specific equip load by equipping, not that, but the Demon's Great Hammer, and then we're going to drop down on the bridge here. You'll want to find a visual cue to get to the bridge, and one thing I want to note, you do not want to drop on the ropes. You want to drop on the bridge itself, because if you drop on the ropes, you take less fall damage, and you will not get Red Tear Stone Ring, and if you do not get Red Tear Stone Ring, it will take a lot longer to kill this Hydra. So on the ladder, I'm going to equip the halberd, and I'm going to take off all my clothes, say goodbye to 2B for the final time in the run. And then we're going to run up here. Make sure you start running right away, because otherwise you will be in trouble. You will get hit by the water, and you'll die. So the reason you want to block here is because the Hydra may hit you. If it does, the shield blocks 95% of damage, you'll be fine. But really what you're trying to do here is you're waiting for its attack, and then once you get it to attack and you're safe, you two-hand the halberd and you do an R2 attack, which will do this running jump attack. Typically, you'll get 2 heads in the front like I did, and then you'll have to turn around to get 1 more. Sometimes you have to turn around to get 2 more. And then once the Hydra is dead after 3 heads have been cut, you want to come to the edge here, and I just wait until my stamina's out, and then I quit out, because we need to spawn the golden golem. So what I do here is I try to roll and stay toward the edge, because if you're on the edge here, you can actually sprint as long as you're hugging the edge. and that is faster than rolling and using your stamina up very quickly. So you see I just kind of keep hugging the edge. Once my stamina's out, though, I'm going to go ahead and equip the halberd again, slowly, which is scary. And then depending on what attack he gives you, you want to wait and then do a R2 attack. One R2 to kill him, one R1 to kill Dusk, which is the rudest time save in the run. You only save 1 second by killing Dusk, but hey, man, it's a speed run, so you got to do what you got to do. And now what we got to do is go to Anor Londo because we need the broken pendant to be able to access the DLC. You will see why we go to the DLC. I will explain why we go to the DLC once we have gotten through, and it will make complete sense why we were going there. So this part of the run can be a little bit annoying because, as you're going to see, and as you'll know if you've played the game before, running to the Duke's Archives takes a decent amount of time. And what is really annoying here is this would be a safety bonfire coming up behind these two pigs that I would totally recommend taking, but you actually can't take this fire unless the pig near it is dead, which I've tried. It is not realistic to kill it. Don't even try. Not a good idea. So what you're going to want to do here, I always run on the left side. Once I get near it, I stop sprinting, and then I wait, and I just roll to the right. I've never died doing that, so it works for me. It's well, as long as it's well timed, and then I just keep sprinting. He never has reached me either doing that. You go to the pig on your left and just block and then wait for it to move, and you can go through, and then you're just going to go ahead and pull the lever. I equip the halberd while I do that, and then I roll because sometimes the pigs will come up behind you. Now this part can be a little bit iffy, just because you can die in about 2 hits here from these crystal speckled fuckers, and that is no bueno, because then you have to do that entire run back again. So what I try to do here, dodge that guy on the stairs. I try to combine R1 attacks, so I'm hitting both of those guys, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really doesn't matter if you die there as long as you get the pendant. You want to use the Dark Sign because it's faster than the You Died animation, but this is actually the only time I die in this run, which I'm pretty proud of because that's not really a big deal death at all. It wastes maybe 5 seconds. So the thing in that area that you want to be careful of is the archer and all the different guys. You can actually walk around and kill all of them if you find it to be safer and you want to save some time in earlier runs, but eventually you are going to have to go through and kill him quickly. Now, you're going to run to the same exact area. We're going to drop down on that bridge again. You'll note that I unequip the Black Knight Halberd, which, again, I don't believe you actually need to do because we're going to equip it again here for the fall damage. What I did do is I equipped Dusk's Ring over the Red Tearstone Ring. We're doing that so that we are going to get the exact amount of fall damage that we want, and we don't have to equip all the armor and the Demon Hammer and everything again, because all you need is just the Halberd equipped, and that will be enough damage for you to get to Red Tearstone Ring range. So on the ladder, I'm going to unequip the halberd again, which I don't think is necessary, but nobody ever told me that I didn't have to. And then I'm going to equip Red Tearstone Ring over Dusk's, and boom, we have Red Tearstone Ring. So the concept is the same here as when we were running to the Crystal Golem. I'm going to try to stay as far as I can to the left, and we are going to go all the way to Sanctuary Guardian, who can be a very, very, very up or down fight depending on what he decides to do. You want Sanctuary Guardian to do his melee attacks. Sanctuary Guardian tends to favor his lightning attacks, which is why this split is named No Lightning Please, because it is generally, in my mind, a time waste for him to use the lightning, but he loves it. So I want to note, you cannot take this bonfire. That would be a safety strat that would be lovely, but if you took that bonfire, you would not be able to have Red Tearstone Ring. In Dark Souls 1, you have to rest at bonfires, not just light them, so that is troublesome. I personally stay away from Sanctuary Guardian. I think you can run up to him to be more dangerous. I've actually rarely seen that attack in a speedrun, so I didn't even know how to react to it. He started off exactly the way you would hope, though. He's doing melee attacks. That's really nice. It's good shit. This is literally his best attack, because when he does that, as long as you dodge the wave, which it's a delayed dodge, you're safe. Now, one thing to note on Sanctuary Guardian is that 2 hits with the halberd will stun him, which is fantastic, and if you hit his tail once with the halberd and Red Tearstone Ring, you will cut it off, and a cutoff is a guaranteed stun. So what I did there was, once I had dodged the wave, I hit his body twice, it stuns, I go to his back, I cut the tail, it stuns, and then I hit him twice, and he's dead. But he can fire off a number of attacks that can really be problematic. So that one is one that will likely take practice. It is definitely, I would say, probably the 4th hardest fight in the run, behind the other 3 being ONS and the remaining 2 boss fights. Now, again, you can't take that bonfire because if you did, you would lose your red tearstone ring, and you do not want to do that here. There are enemies and drops that you can use here to get a red tearstone ring setup, which you might want to do in earlier runs so that you can have the fire, because it is a very, very long run back from the Darkroot Garden. But you're going to want to quit out as soon as you see the Royal Wood come up. The reason you do is because there's 2 little gardening fucks up there who will run after you and kill you. So you want to quit out, and when you go back in, you want to equip the black leather gloves. The reason you want to do this is we're going to do the meme roll skip that I was talking about earlier, just a very tame version of it, which will give a chance for me to explain it. So you equip the Black Knight Halberd, stay a little bit away from the edge, and then just go off and smash that circle button. Not that like button. Smash that circle button, because what this glitch does is when you are at a certain equip load, it allows you to roll in midair. And if you hit the ground when you're in the middle of your iframes, i.e. still rolling, you will be safe and you will not take damage. So that is essentially what you do there. Just 3 rolls and you're good. You want to go through, make sure you unequip the Black Knight, or Black Leather Gloves, excuse me, and then you want to equip the Halberd. Now, Artorias is a fight that I never mastered in the speedrun in terms of aggression. I play very safe here. I wait for certain attacks that I know I can get hits on. After you hit him twice, he's always going to buff. Make sure you give him a little bit of time, because if you hit him too early in the buff, you can't knock out of it. I always like count 1, 2, and that's enough. 2 hits will take him out of his buff, which is nice. This is a great attack to follow up on. You just dodge through, turn around, smack him. This is an attack I never like to follow up on, unless, one caveat, unless he does it 3 times, because he can do that attack 1 to 3 times, and I never know when he's going to stop, so I don't like to follow up. This is another great one. Just wait, dodge to your right, and then you're good. That's another attack you could follow up on if you were closer, but again, I don't like taking risks here because, of course, 1 hit and you're dead. And this was a really good run, so I was like, I'm going to play this as passive as shit. He was too, to be honest. He wasn't attacking me very much. Again, 2 hits, he's out, and it should take, if I'm not mistaken, 2 more hits to kill him. I could have followed up with a combo there, but I do not do that shit with Artorias. Some people might to be faster, but I don't. The fight was pretty slow compared to my best, but, you know, I did not care at this point in the run. So you're going to want to go through this gate because the Purple Coward's Crystal is what you need to finish this run. And that is going to be the major glitch that requires you to come to the speedrun. So there is something in the speedrun. You see I equipped the Purple Coward's Crystal in the 5th slot. That is key. You want it in the 5th slot behind the Dark Sign and the Estus. It's going to allow us to do a glitch that is going to allow us to teleport to Gwyn, essentially, which I will explain. So we're going to go down, and now we are finally going to rest at the Lordvessel, and when we rest at the Lordvessel, we are going to teleport to the Uasil Township. Now, what we're going to do here is a glitch, and fortunately, I fucked it up so much that you're going to see me do it multiple times that I have plenty of time to explain. I lose like a minute and a half here. So essentially what you're doing with this glitch, you have the Purple Coward's Crystal equipped. You press the square button to use the item. You cannot use this item because it can only be used in the arena to teleport you out of the arena. So what you're going to do here, you're going to use the item, you're going to press down to switch to your Estus, and you're going to press right on your D-pad to toggle, and then you're going to run off. What you're trying to do is use the item, toggle to Estus, toggle your right item, and the moment you hit the ground, the exact frame out of 60 frames that your foot hits the ground, you want to use your Estus. If you do it too late, you will use your Estus. If you do it too early, you will not use anything. Do not mash the square button because that will not do you any good. You have to hit square the moment your foot hits the ground. If you run out of Estus, you have to go back to there's other ways to do it, but I would recommend going back to the Lordvessel. But this skip can be difficult to time. Like I said, 1 frame out of 60, so it can be really difficult to time. Unfortunately, I really fucked it up here. I was very out of practice for it because I hadn't gotten a run here in a very long time, because I had quit a lot of runs because I died early on or whatever. But I should be about to get it right here. So when you get it, you're going to see this black symbol as if you would use a purple coward's crystal. What you want to do is then switch to your dark sign, and then you're going to want to dark sign out quickly, because if you do not dark sign out quickly enough, you will teleport to the arena, and then you're fucked. Because once you've teleported to the arena, I don't believe the glitch works anymore, or at least it didn't seem to for me. Anyway, this teleports you into the Kiln, which normally that knight follows up behind you and he stabs you in the back, which is why I'm toggle skipping like a madman right here. He did not do that, so I eventually just waited for him to come up behind me. And as you can see, because I was toggle skipping, he doesn't stun me, which is nice. And then the rest of this is just running to Gwyn. You want to roll past that sword guy because he's pretty spooky. And then once I run out of stamina here, this is typically where I do it, I'm going to switch to the Dragon Crest Shield. And the reason we're going to switch to the Dragon Crest Shield is because it blocks more fire damage, and since we have such low health, we need that over the Grass Crest Shield, because the strategy for Gwyn is going to require blocking, potentially, and you'll see why. So that guy I always just roll past just to be safe. The next guy coming up, you don't have to do anything. You can just stick to the left, hug the wall, and sprint past him. I've never been hit by him doing that. And the final halberd guy, it is safe if you run to his right. He does have a swipe attack that I like to roll if he does it, but here he's just going to stab forward and you're good. You want to go through, equip the halberd, and then I always roll because the knights are going to follow you and they'll try to swipe at you. So then you're going to parry Gwyn's opener. He's got two. One of them is the giant jumping one, the other one's the lower jumping one. Either way, you're going to parry and then two-handed riposte. Go behind him, and then you are going to do a two-handed R1. Then you are going to parry him again. And then you are going to get one final parry. If he does a grab, it's a waste of time. This is why you block. Because if he does a quick attack, you block the first one, and then you parry the second one. That's why you'll always see me blocking with Gwyn. But there's one catch. You only want to block with Gwyn after a second or two. It's really difficult to describe. You get a feel for it. The reason I say that is if you block too early, Gwyn will kick your shield. And if he kicks your shield, then you're going to lose all your stamina, and you're likely going to lose your run. So as you can see here, my time was 38:11 in-game time, which is a pretty good run. The world record for this game is 32:54 in-game time, I believe. And I definitely have time I could save on my splits here. My sum of best is not correct. I had to modify some of my gold splits, and I think my sum of best actually is closer to like 38 minutes and 54 seconds, which would be like a 35:50 run in-game time, maybe like a 35:40. But I don't know that I'll speedrun this game a ton more. The thing is, I really like the speedrun a lot. The speedrun is really, really fun when you actually get a run. I did this on stream for 36 hours as part of my challenge, where I give myself a time to get a gold time, which my gold time was 40 minutes. And I spent so much of that 36 hours just running for halberds that I never had enough time to get actual legitimate runs to practice and get through. So if you're on PC, I definitely recommend the gadget tool. And the way I use it personally is I do the run, and if I get the halberd, I just run as normal. If I don't, I modify the halberd into my inventory, and then I just continue the run as I normally would otherwise. Because when it comes to speedrunning, what you really need is practice. And when you're doing the first 6 minutes of the run over and over and over and over and over again just to get a run, you'll find that you don't get good at the rest of the run, which is kind of important for speedrunning. But with that said, this is a really fun speedrun. It is a really rewarding speedrun. I like how you're able to get to ONS in less than 20 minutes. If you're faster than I am, you can probably get there in like 15-ish minutes. I like that you get to fight Quelaag. I like that you get to fight the Gargoyles. I like Sanctuary Guardian okay. I love that you get to fight Artorias, and I love fighting Gwyn. Again, I glazed over Gwyn's strategy a little bit, but the key with Gwyn is you want to make sure you don't block too quickly. If he gives you the long kind of swinging attack, you want to just parry that outright and let go of your block. If he gives you a quick attack, you want to block the first one and then parry the second one, and then you'll be good. One thing to note on the riposting with Gwyn is it's kind of weird to riposte him. I think you're just supposed to wait a second and like kind of delay it. The way I figured out, thanks to someone in my stream, was to wiggle waggle back and forth. You might have seen me wiggle waggling at Gwyn. But yeah, that's all it takes. I am sorry that my commentary for this video was so fast because I tried to give as much context as I could for every single thing I was doing, but this is a very quick run. Beating Dark Souls in under 1 hour is pretty nuts. So I hope you enjoyed my commentary. I hope it was helpful. I wish you the best of luck if you want to try this run for yourself. And thank you guys for watching very much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It really means a lot to me to know you're enjoying the content. And thank you guys for watching. Very much love to you, and I will see you in the next video.